Okay, I even know how to use the stop bombs. So are the judges all ready?
Yeah.
Presenters all ready?
Yep.
When we're ready. Okay.
Greetings. We are team number 1. Allow me to introduce you to the members of our team. We have Holly, the non-indigenous hunter, Galric. We have Ethan, the exotic swear, Switzer. We have Matt, the invasive mutilator, Aubin. And we have Zane, the non-native zapper, Aleph. And I am Lucas, the alien assassinator, Aubin. Invasive species pose quite a threat to us. They strike at us through multiple areas. Number 1, the environment. They are a serious threat to the environment due to the fact that they are very adaptable, and they can thrive and reproduce in an area rather effectively due to the lack of predators to keep them in line. As a result of this, they can outcompete many of our native species for resources, such as habitat, food, water, light, etc. And as a result of this, many of those species could eventually become extirpated, or, worst case scenario, even extinct. Secondly, the economy. These, well, for starters, these invaders are, well, to remove them isn't very cheap. And they can also do harm to trade, as they can be responsible for import/export restrictions. And they can also do a number on ecological services due to them altering the ecosystem. They also can hamper the productivity of certain business industries, such as forestry, agriculture, fishing. And they can also decrease property value due to the changing landscapes. And they also do a number on tourism and recreation. After all, who would want to take a nature walk on a forest-turned wasteland? And third, society. These little invaders can, well, have a lot of problems associated with human health as well as well-being. As I previously mentioned, they can introduce and spread disease into an area. And they can be responsible for other health problems, such as allergies or irritations. And again, as I previously mentioned, they can do a number on tourism and recreation. They don't really sound like a pleasant group, do they? As you can see, we cannot hesitate to strike at this problem. We must stop invasive species now.
Stop.
Invasive species, now.
Okay, so we have a friends group, the Friends of Lake Erie East Watershed. And basically we created a little bit of a logo just to help with awareness. And basically it's very simple, except the O is a turtle because many turtles are endangered. And we have a group of people holding hands to represent community. Some stakeholders that would be impacted by this include local schools, businesses, and corporations, non-government organizations, Métis and First Nations, government, and local landowners. So a very prominent invasive species is Phragmites. So basically it's very bushy and it outcompetes native cattails, willows, and buttonbush. This is a problem because muskrats often will consume the cattails and such for to eat, and then where they eat from is a spot for birds. So native turtles also get caught in the Phragmites and they end up not being able to move, and so they die. So the first thing that we need to do is detect Phragmites. It can look a lot like many other native plants, so we need to make sure that people know that it's Phragmites, not a native. One way to tell is that non-native Phragmites grows in very dense bushes. Okay, now we need to prevent. So basically, if there's any work being done anywhere where Phragmites is located, we need a proper protocol so that it doesn't get on people's clothing or machinery and then spread to other locations. We also need to create limited disturbances because that's where Phragmites likes to grow. Okay, and then we also need to encourage people when they see it to call the local hotline or use an app to report it so we know an area we're dealing with. And then to treat it, there's a process that's most effective. First you use a herbicide, then you cut and roll it, and then you prescribe burning. So we would need to implement that, which would be a form of integrated pest management system.
A species that is native to our part of Ontario is the Fowler's toad. And Fowler's toads can often get caught up in these kilometer-wide patches of Phragmites with no food or water. Our Fowler's toad here will run out of food and water and die, which doesn't help its endangered classification at all. So another problem for our endangered species, the turtles that are native to here, is the red-eared slider. Pet owners quite often will get a red-eared slider, have it and get too big, and then they release it. But it doesn't die out in the wild, it thrives because it's an invasive species, and it outcompetes all of our turtles for food, water, any resources that it needs, and nesting grounds. It actually will hybridize with painted turtles occasionally, which doesn't help the painted turtle population to grow, because if a painted turtle is having offspring, it should be raising painted turtle offspring to increase the population. We can manage and adapt this to sterilize this painted turtle population over time until there are no more fertile painted turtles.
Okay, now comes the zebra mussel. Over in the quarry, whereabouts over there, is just filled with zebra mussels. Now, the way to prevent zebra mussels, we'll educate our people from our friends groups to clean their boats and any sort of aquatic equipment when moving from one body of water to another to try to stop the spread of them. We will use this friends group to identify these mussels, and we'll try to use them to cut down on the amount of zebra mussels, or at least manage the affected areas, as these things spread so rapidly you cannot really eliminate them. You can see here, like, we need about 500 more hands to demonstrate zebra mussels, as they would probably be out to about here.
So a solution to this is creating riparian zones. So we will select sites to create riparian zones. We will conduct an inventory of the watershed to identify the areas of highest pollution and erosion, such as farms, roads, and industrial sites. These riparian zones will act as a filter to prevent road salt, pesticide, fertilizer, eroded soil, and industrial runoff from entering the watershed. It will also cool the water by providing shade, increasing dissolved oxygen levels, which helps the fish and improves water quality.
Do you want to just wrap it up?
Yeah, sure, we'll take a minute here. Okay, now we will fund this project through the Evergreen Walmart grant. It's a $10,000 grant that covers up to half of your product costs for your project. And this project is mostly geared towards removing invasive species and nativizing an area. So our funds will be about $5,000 allocated towards the burning for the Phragmites, and the rest of the 15 will go towards these targeted riparian zones. And this one will be made through donations and our friends groups projects for fundraising. Thank you.
Questions
Thank
from
you.
the judges?
I have a question. What do you think the biggest challenge would be for the Friends group, for starting it up and then keeping members?
I think mostly the popularity and engagement for someone to stick with something like this, as the work is kind of hard work. To find someone who's really dedicated to it. So it's more about finding the right members and finding ways to keep them interested and really promoting a community presence. So it's not like it's a smaller group, it's an actual involved people want to get in it. So spreading that that way.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I I think we could also involve schools, local schools in our group as part-time, like when they can maybe come out, like elementary and high schools, to help us plant trees and riparian zones and do other things to like get rid of garlic mustard and Phragmites
Yeah,
too.
the burning and the herbicide has to be
That-
done
yeah.
by professionals, but the actual cutting to be done by anybody.
In order to prevent future invasions, public awareness must be raised as well. We must educate people about these invaders and how to, well, not spread them, since all these invasions are caused by humans, ironically, but so. And so, if we teach people, like, how to identify them, how to remove them, how to whatnot, we'll be able to prevent future invasions.
Thank you.
You guys good?
Any other questions?
Got a couple more minutes. Something like, say, removing the Phragmites, how would that affect, say, stabilization of slopes or the soils? Like, I guess just removing it one piece, is there a,
Well, we do it patch by patch, and as the disturbed sites are sort of a hotspot for invaders, those spots will have to jump on them as quickly as we can to turn them into riparian zones. So planting trees that have widespread roots to try to hold in that soil along the banks.
and that is actually time now.
Okay.
But I might as well use all the time, that's the question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.